Hi, welcome back. I am Zoe Flowers, and I have a new person that I'll be reading with. So excited. You actually may have heard Kimmie and we had a conversation. She appeared on the podcast. Was it like last month before last? This is
I think it
April.
might have been March,
I think I think so
maybe.
too. Early
I think
March,
so.
maybe. I don't know. But anyway, Kimmie, among other things, she talks to the animals and is just all around psychic, great person. The minute we connected, I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to like do things with you. So she said yes. So we're going to get started. So we're going to do a reading for the collective. Um, I am using as inspiration the Uranus in Gemini transit that started on Saturday, April 25th. And this transit will be happening until May 2033. So if we think about the planet Uranus, we know that Uranus has to do with surprises, things that are unusual, things coming out of nowhere. And then if we think about Gemini, Gemini's, it's the twins, but it's also communication, it's short distance travel, it's how we think, it's the intellect, it's the mind. So Gemini is associated obviously with commerce, with technology. So that's why when Mercury is in retrograde, Mercury rules Gemini. So that's why things can get wonky. So when I think about Uranus in Gemini, one of the things I was thinking about was, and they're calling it the Great Awakening. Great. I'm here for it. Um, Thinking about communication, right? So we have Uranus, which is unusual, and we have Gemini, which is about communication. So in some ways, our communication is going to change. Now, what could be interesting, because I was moved to pull the Starseed deck and the Palladian Oracle, could this mean communication with extraterrestrials? Ooh, on a larger scale, maybe, right? It could mean that. Um, it could mean also, I'm hearing like more people being telepathic. Like there's something about new forms of communication. Um, it could also be us needing to be careful with this whole AI situation, with Uranus in Gemini. Definitely changes in the media. We already get our news in different ways. So I think that is also, we're going to see more of that over the next 7 years. Um, and then rethinking how we relate to each other. We're also going to see that. So that's just my little overview of Uranus in Gemini. So let's get into this Palladian deck first, this Palladian Oracle, and see what they have to say about, like, what do we need to know about this trip? This is what I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Universal knowledge. I mean, we could, what? Number 11? Master number 11? So now 11 can be a number that comes with struggle, okay, in numerology, but universal knowledge. So what was I saying? Are the ETs going to come, honey? Are they going to come? Are they going to talk to us? Are they going to rescue us? What's going to happen? I keep saying there's no new technology. Clearly I'm wrong. Or maybe it's just more people coming into an understanding that there's more that meets the eye, more downloads, more acceptance of conversations like the one we're having now. I love it. The other thing we have here, light technology. Were we not just talking about technology? So this could also mean, with the communication, this could also mean, I know a lot of people are doing that light language now. There's like that other language that people are speaking that they're saying is light language. Light technology, this could also mean Like literally, maybe there's going to be some sort of technological advance using light. The people say that they built the pyramids with sound. That's one of the tools that they used to move those big blocks to put those pyramids together, that they used sound technology to help do that. Maybe there's going to be some improvements to like lasers, like medical advancements and things like that with this light technology. And what I think is that more people are going to have access to this technology. Might not be looking so good for the tech bros. I feel like because more people are going to be having access, and we already kind of see things crumbling now a little bit, I think that as more people get tapped in, as more people start to take their power back, we're not going to be relying so much on like a few people creating society and then we just behave within the boxes that they set. That is what I'm seeing. It's like more people coming out of the boxes. And we also have sacred union here. Well, just as I said, more people coming out of the boxes, more people taking chances. I think this is more relationships. I don't want to say becoming more sacred, but then I want to say becoming more sacred. Like people having a new understanding about what relationships could look like, should look like, could feel like, should feel like. And again, this is going to be a universal thing. That's what I'm seeing from the Palladians. And then what does the starseed have to say? What do you have to say about this Uranus and Gemini? Oh my God. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. I mean, a new Earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Keep moving forward. Look at how similar these figures are. And the thing about this universal knowledge, these figures are all individual, right? It's just you on the sand dune looking at the stars. It's you looking at Earth, right? And the water. It's you looking at the planet and water. So not leaning so much on other people, again, to get your knowledge, but really tapping into our power to create the new Earth. That's what I got. What do you got? I love it.
What I think is really fascinating is that also when you were pulling those cards, did you realize that light technology was 29? So that
Yeah.
also breaks down to 11. So
Oh
you
my
have two master
gosh.
numbers.
Yes, 22. 22, which is that higher, it's so
Hmm.
that 22 is the higher frequency of 11, which is that sacred union. Once you get to 22 master number, you're talking about sacred union. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And then 15, we would have a 6 in numerology, so that's
Hmm.
family.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. It is family, but it's also balancing. You could also must take it as like a balancing of the knowledge that we have now about not even just about how technology works, but about how, like, what happens to our souls when we pass, or about like how reincarnation actually occurs, which I don't claim to be some type of expert, but I would take it as like an understanding and an awakening on a big level. So when you look at
Whoa.
sacred union, you can also think about, okay, well, how does what actually happens with the soul whenever we pass, and can
Yes.
we just trust the universe that we will be back with the beings we're supposed to be with,
Oh my
so our
God, I
loved
love
ones.
that. I love that. Oh, I love that.
That's why we did it, girl.
I know.
That's why we did
I know, I know, I know. I
it.
love that. I love that. I love and what do you think that's making me also think about like the new earth too? And maybe we've had this conversation before, but if we have this new knowledge, this universal knowledge about like what happens to our soul, does
Yeah.
that make us less fearful of death?
Well,
And then we can create a new earth?
I think it makes us less fearful, but I also think that it calls back to like we've been in end stage capitalism for, a hot minute now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so we're in the downfall of this system because capitalism was never meant to be a sustainable system. Um, and I think about that often and how like it really was a system that was ultimately going to fail because it's just not sustainable. Because we haven't gotten to the point where we have enough renewables to keep it sustainable just for one. That's just one little segment of all the reasons why it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And so if you're in the middle of a downfall and then you're having to rely on other people more, and then more people are creating more technology that can be used by everybody, then maybe you have more of like a commune type situation, but like a modern day commune type situation. So it's like
Yes.
not like the back to landers back in the 60s,
Yeah.
right? Who were like buying pieces of land and living together. Not like that, like still having air conditioning, right? But relying more on your community because the system doesn't work for most people. And the people who choose to stay in the system can. But those who choose not to and to do something entirely different, the new earth is the way they would go, right?
I love that.
That's how I see that.
And I love that it says it's happening, keep holding the vision because
Hmm.
the message that I always get is like don't always look at what's happening, like hold the vision, don't give
Hmm.
up, don't, keep moving forward, keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fascinating because what I got,
What'd you got?
what, what I got for my message, and by the way, I did want to say, whenever you said light technology, I immediately thought of like cancer treatments and radiation is immediately what I thought of. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, cancer treatments. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
Instantly. So, and and also you mentioned light language, and light language is just another light language is
Interesting.
a way to speak with extraterrestrials.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people view light language as just extraterrestrial speech, which is really, which I think is really interesting because we were talking about practicing languages earlier today,
We
like
were.
very real world 3D languages,
We were.
but we were talking about communication earlier today in different languages.
Yeah.
So, but I immediately thought of cancer treatments when you said light technology.
Well, when you said that, I just split the deck and I got the Ten of Cups when you're talking about cancer technology. So, yeah,
Well, that
happier
also goes
families.
along with your that also goes along with your sacred union,
I
doesn't it?
agree with you. Yeah, the bodies are even they're
Hmm.
holding each other the same, right?
That's a lot
And
of
the
love.
colors are even similar. The reds, the blues,
Well, and the rainbow.
and the rainbow. Oh my God, yeah.
The shape, look at it, it's like a
It's
portal.
freaking wild.
It's a portal in both instances.
It's freaking wild. Yeah, I love it.
That was a very thorough reading. That was great.
Wasn't that good?
Great. That was wonderful.
Oh my God,
I
I'm so glad I pulled out these. I haven't used these decks in so long. Wow. Good job.
Good job, Dex. We
Good job.
appreciate you. Good job, aliens.
That's right. That's right.
But so what I got was a message. So yesterday I was walking on a trail with my husband and there was a big hawk that was kind of sitting near there was like a little deck and a little I don't know if you call it a marshland area, but like a freshwater marsh.
Okay.
And this hawk was just sitting there. I live in East Tennessee. Anyway, we do see hawks all the time, but I tend to see hawks when something really important is going to happen, or there's an important astrological event, or something really significant for my soul's path that's happening in my life is typically when I see hawks. And so we're walking on this trail and we're passing by this dock and there's a hawk on it. And so I just freeze and I take a picture of the hawk and I got a video of the hawk as it was flying off, but it sat there for like 3 or 4 minutes and we talked. Um, and the hawk was talking to me about protection and not making a quick decision
Oh.
to hold. But it's funny because I didn't until just this moment realize it also sounds very much like the New Earth card is to hold the vision of what you want and
Mm.
to really hold on to that and just stay the course. Even if something doesn't feel good right now, stay the course, plan, plot, execute whatever that plan is. Some people might be in the middle of a really nasty relationship and they're looking to leave it, but you can't at this exact moment. And I know that's very broad and that can apply to a lot of people, but the message that I got was your protection is number one. So what can you do to make sure that you're safe? And that also kind of spans out to the collective if you think about it, because we have so much chaos going on around
Mhm.
us. It's like, how do you
Yeah.
how do you insulate yourself from the chaos while still maintaining compassion and being able to be there for other people? You really have to be there for yourself first.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about spiritual hygiene when it comes to monitoring your news intake because all that chaos from the outside can really go within. And then
Yes.
if we have chaos inside, then that just creates chaos in our own personal bubble. So it goes from the world to
Yep.
us,
That's right.
neutralization, right? And then
Mhm.
our bubble gets all messed up. And so just remember that you can care and you can be compassionate, and I very much understand my privilege in saying this as a white woman. Like I really, really do. Because you can have, when you're a white person, like you get to have a certain amount of detachment from the things that are going on.
Mhm.
And it's almost like you don't have to care as much. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying take care of you regardless.
Mhm.
And the more you take care of you, and the more you can get internally settled, the calmer your outside bubble is. And then you can put that more into your community.
Yeah.
Um, but I really had such a strong message yesterday from that hawk about holding on to a vision and really coming up with a good plan to
Mm.
take care of yourself or to get out of a bad situation. But that
Interesting.
isn't just in our personal life, that's everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
collective energy goes so well with the A New Earth card
Yeah.
and even like the sacred union that we're talking
Yeah.
about. And so this is really, it's not just a message of hope, it's a message of what's coming. And
Yeah.
what's coming is people relying more on each other because our government isn't going to function in a way that is healthy, right? Or is helpful. So we really, really do have to rely on each other in our communities. And if you, to be more personal on a more individual level for the collective, it's weird to say that, but if you're in a situation where you really need to get out of, even if you're like living with your family and just your mom is really toxic, don't make the move this moment. Think about all the things you need to do to make your move and then execute your plan and do that with logic and not emotion. And that's very hard to separate emotion from logic when someone has hurt you and you just want to get away from them.
Yeah.
That's a very hard thing to do. But you don't make good decisions in a state of emotion. Um, just like in our world, we don't make good decisions in a state of emotion, which unfortunately has not just unfortunately, like it has caused some pretty horrific things to happen all over our planet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Discompassion, disinformation, all that. Um, so just really holding on to, you get to write your own story. Zoe, you get to write your own story. We talked about that earlier too.
Yeah.
And even if something, even if there is a system that is a lot more powerful than you, it's not more powerful than the collective,
Yes.
right? The system
Yeah.
relies on the collective. The collective did rely on the system, but now the collective has to create a new system. That's where the new earth comes in.
That's where the new and what I really like is, so I did this sort of like, okay, this until 2033 reading. It's kind
Yes.
of like, this is like what I read on is kind of like you said, it's what's coming,
Mhm.
and your reading was like, and this is how we get there.
Yes.
We
Yep.
take these actions all along the way.
Yes.
Mhm.
Again, you can't, real change doesn't come from a place of compulsiveness, and it can't come from a place of fear because you don't make good decisions in a state of fear.
That's
And
right.
again, that's where like my acknowledgement of my own privilege comes in. But the point still stands is that you can't make good decisions in a state of fear. So even if it's just upgrading your life to get away from an abusive home situation, family situation, or if you're just looking at the collective in its entirety, making decisions out of fear isn't, it's not going to get you where you need to go. You really need to be as logical as possible to make those decisions and get out. And that's so, I know you so totally understand that because
Yeah.
you've worked with um,
Yeah.
domestic violence survivors for so many years.
Yeah.
And like you really get that,
Mm.
that you have to plan to get out. And you know what's interesting is like we talked a little bit about this during our podcast episode, and I guess it's just such the theme of okay, like you said, this is what's happening and this is how we get there.
Mhm.
I didn't even realize that that was so much of the theme for the collective then, but I guess that it has kind of led into this conversation, hasn't it? I
Totally.
didn't even realize that till
Me
this
either.
moment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because we met, we connected, we knew we were going to do something together, but we didn't
Hmm.
know what it was.
Yeah.
We didn't know what our work was going to be, but we said yes. And I think there's something in that as well.
Yes.
Like, so we're not doing things compulsively, but we follow the positive impulses, if that makes sense.
Absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I that was a pretty comprehensive reading, Zoe. I'll give you an A plus plus plus.
Oh, thank you. You as well.
Why, thank you.
We did it. We did it.
We sure did. And it was
Yeah.
so funny because before I got here to my recording space today, as I was telling you earlier, now we can tell everybody,
Yeah.
I had talked to that crow and I was thinking on my way, I was like, I don't know where my, or not crow, but my the hawk, and I was like, I don't know where my animal oracle deck is. And I thought, well, I have my crow oracle deck. I'll pull that out. And then I had a hawk fly over my car, which again doesn't happen that frequently. And this hawk was like, girl, we already talked yesterday. Like, this is your message for the collective. And I was like, well, I thought that was, just a more personal
Mm.
message. And they were like, no, no, that's your message. What do you need? What do you need your deck for? You like we came to visit you. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Well, folks, there you have it. Me and Kimmie, we're gonna keep it popping with y'all. And so, yeah, drop down in the comments and let us know what you thought about this reading. Oh, Kimmie, how can people get a hold of you for readings? Or because you don't just do readings with animals, you're an intuitive, you're a psychic, you do all kinds of readings. So how can people connect with you?
So, Kimmie Haliburta, psychic. You can reach me on there. I have a contact form you can fill out. You can text me at 865-224-6858. I am located in Knoxville, Tennessee, if you want to do something in person, but I offer Zoom sessions as well. So yeah, there are multiple ways you can reach out to me, and I do energy work, psychic readings, all sorts of different things, as Zoe was saying.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, I'll see you later and we'll see you soon. Bye.